this title. And he's got to go to Middlesbrough and get something. And I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Hello everybody, this is another edition of The Warm Down. I'm here with Sam from Mundial magazine. Now this, if you've not seen it, is an absolutely cracking magazine. It's about football culture, it's about the beautiful side of the beautiful game. You're not going to find stats in there, you're not going to find transfer rumours in there, you're just going to find a celebration of everything that we actually really enjoy, and I know that you guys are really getting about football as well. So Sam, welcome. How are you doing, mate?
Thanks, yeah, good. It's good to be in Manchester.
Yeah, so we're in Manchester because they're launching a Beckham edition of that, and do you know what? I'm going to give one away. So just one of you comment something really nice in the description below, and I'll give one of you one of them bags. How's that sound? Sound like a winner? That's what we're doing, so deal with it. So they're launching this episode, this edition of Mundial Mag. It's got David Beckham on the cover. It's got a big feature on David Beckham in the middle.
By me.
All by you?
By me. Well, not all of it by me, but the main bit by me. The good bit is by me. Not really, that's bad. If anyone else is watching this, no. The worst bit is by me and the rest of it is by people who are more talented than me.
So David Beckham?
Yeah.
Underrated or overrated?
I don't know, it's a weird one. Like, we chose him because there's like a weird way that people just sort of like completely overlook him. Because he's like ubiquitous, he's kind of automatically overrated, except no one really talks about how good he was. It's like a weird, he gets all the plaudits for being like class, without anyone actually ever admitting how good he was.
Or breaking down what it was that he actually did
it's just
as
like,
a footballer.
He just, like, in terms of
he's
like...
a cultural star, isn't he? I mean, he
100
brought football out of the 90s into...
100%. It went from like there's no one that typifies going from like big baggy shirts and muddy pitches to like Moschino, police glasses, all that shit. Like, he's the one who's...
Never all-in-ones.
Yeah, oh mate. But like, I mean, he didn't always get it right, but like, in terms of like pure technique, he got like literally everything. In terms of like seeming like a decent bloke who you wouldn't mind going to the pub with, he also had that.
Can you even imagine what his life's like?
No, honestly, it's mad. There's a quote in that thing where...
That thing, the magazine
that thing,
he
sorry.
spends all his life on.
Yeah, that one. Sick of it now. There's a quote in Mundial in the piece where I found it, and he was just like... Someone, like an interview asks him, who's more famous than you? And he just sits there for ages and goes, Tom Cruise? That's it. Like, you can think of like one bloke who's more famous than him. I can't imagine that what that must do to your brain.
Well, he was at Hotel Football this weekend, just gone.
Yeah.
After the game, I think he was there for the launch of Gary Neville's new hotel, new nightclub. Which, if you're Gary Neville, what a top person that is to call on. The lad who used to play in front of United. Oh yeah, he's also one of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah.
Come down to my nightclub and open this, mate.
He's played on that "we're best mates" card quite often. I think David's gonna have to pull him sometimes. Like, oh, you know, I've got quite a big garden and it needs cutting, and gardeners are quite expensive, so Gary, get your shears out.
United players are in Hotel Football, as I'm sure you can imagine, pretty fucking regular.
Yeah.
David Beckham come. I was getting texts off people saying Beckham's at the hotel. I'm like, I'm at a hotel. Like, I haven't seen him though. I think they found a new entrance somewhere to bring him in from.
Like, people who are that famous just sort of like swoop in, swoop out. Like when like Barack Obama would turn up into town and you'd be like, there's a lot of traffic today. Why is there so much traffic? And it just turns out that
Obama wanted a hot dog.
Yeah, it's just like we had to shut off all of Oxford Street because he wanted to pop in Primark.
We'll talk about the cultural side of him in a minute, but as a player, you said you was a West Ham fan?
Yes, I am a West Ham
You
fan.
should really have this, or they seem to have this thing about Flash Nancy boys and this, that and the other. Surely Beckham's right in that.
I don't know about that. I think that he's sort of like... I mean, like, I know that United have got that sort of culture of Cockney Reds as well, and I think he just sort of like transcends all sort of like partisan support, and like bias kind of goes out the window because...
Is this because of his England exploits? Because I know West Ham's got a huge England following, hasn't it?
Yeah, but like it's because of that, but also just because he was like fucking wicked as well. Yeah. I think more than anything, I was like, there's like very few players that like transcend it, and like in my lifetime, there's been like Cantona, Thierry Henry, well, Cristiano, awful lot of Man United players, unfortunately. Even someone like Drogba, who you end up like begrudgingly respecting because you're just like, oh, you are the man, fair enough. Beckham is like right up there at like the very top of that. And I think that like, you only really hear about how good he was from like fellow pros. Like someone like Roy Keane in that Keane and Vieira documentary. Just put him in there like no hesitation.
Yeah,
and
he's like,
yeah, you'd be like, really? No, but he was just like, obviously. There's no one who works harder, and like final product in his prime, like unbelievable, just setting it up on a plate, like Dwight and Andy, finish your dinner. Like, it's just like, it was just there.
I always say, in 1999, David Beckham was the best player in the world, but because United had such a great team, our Ballon d'Or voting got spread amongst Schmeichel, Stam, Keane, Scholes,
100%.
Giggs, York, Cole.
Yeah.
So Beckham didn't get that focal point of being a team, but for me, the greater the player, the greater the measure of what they did in the great games. Now, all of those
100%.
key moments are other players in that 99 season. You remember the Solskjaer goal, the Sheringham goal, Giggs' solo run against Arsenal.
Yeah.
All these individual, Cole and York's combining against Barcelona.
King's performance against Juventus.
King's header against But if you rewind all of those and you go, actually, in the final in 99, the 2 corners were Beckham corners. The goal in the first half against Arsenal was a world-class finish no one talks about, and that was Beckham. That little shimmy between York and Cole, Beckham played that pass. Now, there's the corner for Keane to edit. Beckham played that. He's the supporting act in every single major moment of that.
It's mad. Like,
season ever.
If it's like, if this was like the Oscars and you have like the best supporting actor, he'd fucking blow everyone else out of the water like every single year. But football doesn't work like that. Like, he come second twice in the World Player of the Year. No one ever remembers who the second player was.
Rivaldo won it in 99 and Barcelona didn't get out of the group because we knocked them out of the group. Because Beckham scored a free kick against them. And you're like...
It's just... And to do all that after having, obviously, what happened, goes without saying, what happened in 98 as well. What that must do to your brain. And to then respond in, like... it's like literally the best way possible. There's no way better than to prove your critics wrong than being like the best player in the country, like the second best player in the world.
Well, yeah. And the season that we went and had, and with his boyhood club, whether he's a Cockney or not, it's his boyhood club.
No, 100%. I mean, I accept that Man United also transcend area. So, like, being West Ham, if anyone outside of East London supports West Ham, I'm like, there's no need for you to do that. But, like, especially sort of like, I'm like 26, so like, up until very recently, I'd never known like a footballing superpower like Man United, especially not in this country. So they were just so much bigger than that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Obviously, I'm Manchester. I'm United, and I always saw there was like one kid at school who supported Liverpool. He was well weird. Yeah, and then there was
got digs at lunchtime.
60-70% United. The rest was City. Occasional like support Bury.
Like, Stockport.
Yeah,
well, right.
But that was it, and there was never Chelsea or anything like that. I watch my son at training at the moment. There's a Chelsea shirt. There's an Arsenal shirt. There's shirts from all over the place, and it's definitely just opened up. And I think kids themselves having more choice because they've got the access to watch them on the internet, to watch them on telly, more than
FIFA, stuff like that.
FIFA, yeah, absolutely.
Like everyone's an expert on every single player now. Like I remember, like my girlfriend's brother, who's like 14, will have a conversation with me about like Borussia Dortmund. I'm like, there's no why do you know anything about Borussia Dortmund?
I knew that though from being a kid playing Football Manager and Championship Manager.
I know, I do as well, but then you get past that age and you're just like, how do you know these things? I'm talking to kids who are born like post 2000, and I'm like, why do you know who like Adrian Rabiot is, or it's like,
or even who Osasuna are.
Yeah, or someone will come on in like a Champions League game and they'll go, watch out for them, they're really fast. They've got 96 acceleration on FIFA, and you're like, why do you know these things? Why have you just become like a little computer?
That's an interesting development that's happened. More and more recently with the advent of the way FIFA's blown up, because FIFA didn't be this thing when I was a kid. I played FIFA. I remember the ones where you could only run at angles.
Yeah.
On the Mega Drive and stuff.
Yeah.
I played more Pro Evo as I got to like the early 2000s and stuff.
Yeah. But that's the connoisseur's choice, Pro Evo, I felt.
It was never this cultural thing that existed outside of you and your PlayStation though. I used to have the occasional like Pro Evo tournament with a few of my mates.
Yeah.
But it was our little thing there. You didn't go to school or college or
and everyone's obsessed
on
with it
Twitter
and you talk about
it.
no,
It didn't exist. But.
It's weird. It's part of what the inspiration for Mundial come out of. The fact that like now you have that access to so much information, like the internet, Twitter. Everyone is a supporter of Real Oviedo and stuff like that, and you're like, yeah, that's great. Everyone loves football, but like. Everyone's an expert suddenly. So like, everyone knows everything about every stat. Like they could tell you that what possession percentage on average Man United had last year. It's probably like what, I don't know, like
56.
50. Yeah, exactly. It's what I mean. But like, So like we specifically made a magazine that was like, that wasn't a dig at you. Specifically made a magazine that sort of like dealt with like the intangibles of it and just like the bit that just felt like everyone had kind of forgotten. Like,
the romantic side, because football's romantic at heart. Otherwise, it's ridiculous.
No one gets into it. I mean, maybe they do now, but like certainly when I was growing up, I'm sure like when you were growing up as well. Like no one's like 5, 6 years old being like, oh, his pass completion rate is great.
Yeah.
You're just going.
This is awesome.
Yeah, going like, it's really cold. I'm standing next to my dad and I'm wearing a huge coat and I've got a pie and there's this thing called Bovril.
Swearing. This is mint.
There's this thing called Bovril and I don't know what it is. It's very confusing smells and just like the sounds and the lights and the singing and the swearing and feeling like you're an adult when you're not an adult and just like seeing these players who are just sort of like that you know nothing about and just like come out of nowhere and all of a sudden you're like obsessed with like Andre Kanchelskis and like him doing like unnecessary skills on a wing, or for me like Paolo Di Canio, just like I knew him for like pushing over a ref, then he goes into a wilderness and I'm like 8 years old and he comes back and I'm like, this man is my hero. And I had no idea of his weird fascist politics at the time because I'm just like obsessed with the fact that he does fucking Cruyff turns constantly, and I feel like people have just kind of like forgotten that. It feels like everyone is like so into the fact that they know about football now. Everyone knows about football. If I ask my dad the intricacies of Conte's influence on how Premier League teams are setting up their defences, he'll tell me and he'll be like, oh, see, you need 3 mobile centre halves and playing wing backs is all well and good, but they have to be playing wing backs for very. I'm like, my dad don't fucking know any of that. He's just like some geezers used to go over Upton Park.
I remember you being on a coaching course.
Yeah, no, it's just like the way that people have started accessing the game, so through video games and stuff like that, as like seeps into the coverage. So like now on Match of the Day, they have the chance. What's it called? Like like weird metrics that they measure, like expected goals and things like that. Doesn't mean anything. I just want to see goal of the season. I just want to see if every game ended 3-3 with like 2 players sent off and like some fucking weird goal that was awarded that shouldn't have been awarded. I'd be like made up. That's why I was against the goal line technology thing. They're just trying to like micromanage a game which is built on so many elements and is like so natural. You can play like, what was always great about it is that it doesn't matter if you're playing like Sunday League, so like Champions League football, apart from the quality of the pitch, it's exactly the same game and there's no difference.
I've never thought of it like that. I've always thought, because I played professional rugby league, I've got a video ref. It eliminates those bullshit decisions. But as it's gone on, the refs lose the bottle, and the refs, you're like, it's a try. You know it's a try. Yeah. Why are we using the video ref? Just make a pissing decision. For like, and that would seep into football because the money involved.
That's the thing. It's the money involved. Everyone goes on about the sort of like their moral compass. Like, well, no, a goal's a goal and fair's fair and things like that. It's why I'm like not anti-diving, which is a really controversial thing, but I'm just kind of like, especially because like, I played a bit of semi-pro myself, and you play against players who sort of like are as good as you or better than you, so you have to do like every tiny little thing you can to get past them.
Diving.
No, but like that's what I'm using it as an extreme example.
But I do like a bit of gamesmanship.
That's what I mean. Gamesmanship is important.
Diving goes beyond that, I think.
Diving goes beyond it. It's funny, I think, is one of the things. It's like, it's maybe I don't mind it so much because I've kind of consigned myself to supporting West Ham and we're never going to have any success ever. If it cost us the league, I'm sure I'd be really pissed off.
When you bring it back down though, so you say, look, Sunday League to Champions League, if everyone expects Champions League diving at the highest level, but if you bring that level of diving into Sunday League, they'll get laughed at.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to say like if you start diving at Sunday League, you're going to get like some geezer lashing a brick at your window. That's fine.
Dive now.
Yeah, it's fine. Where you diving now, mate? But like, it's just one of those things. Like, gamesmanship is what keeps it interesting. There's a reason why when you watch the Olympics, everyone's really excited for the Olympics until you see most of the sports and you're like, oh, all of them exist in a vacuum. Everything's like determined by like milliseconds and millimeters.
And everyone's doping.
Everyone's doping. Sometimes I think, would it be so bad if everyone in football was doping? Imagine it'd be like the fucking X-Men Champions League.
But I actually think that everybody is doping in football. That's my stance on it. Coming from a professional sports background, that I know everyone's doping in.
Not wishing to slander anyone, but I'm sure sometimes it happens. But like, no, it's just one of those things. Gamesmanship, and like, it's a game that's like won by like that much.
Every game, and it's mad even no matter how good a team is.
It's like the better the teams are, the less it's won by.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm always thinking, the thing that's like unexpected. So like an own goal. Fucking love own goals. I wish I did own goal of the season.
Player of the year for us a few years ago.
Yeah, well, and it's just one of those things. It's just like I get really excited by football still. I feel like if you just took all the heart out of it, I'd just be like, fuck, I'm going to
What's your stance on watching games on TV versus being there? Because there's a difference. Let's face it.
There is a difference, but I feel like living in London, it's so expensive. Like, I can't afford to pay. I mean, I work too much to be able to sort of like justify a season ticket at the minute. But like, I can't pay 50 quid a ticket, and then if I take my girlfriend, it's 100 quid, and then a burger each is 12 quid each. And then if I want a pint, that's another tenner. And before you know it, I spent 200 quid. And I live in Hackney. So if I'm going from Hackney to Stratford, that's about 5 minutes walk away. And then, well, I've spent 200 quid for like an hour and a half. Whereas like, I think that the way that people enjoy football is an inherently social thing. I think as long as you're enjoying it with people and you're enjoying it in the right way. I mean, like, there are some games I just want to just sit in my bed. And it's like, if I've got a hangover, I'll watch the Champions League highlights or something like that. I had a hangover last Friday. Just sat there and just watched like 3 consecutive Champions League games.
Awesome.
I found it's great, and you just don't want anyone bothering you. Sometimes you just want to sort of like drift off. It's just like there's different ways that people enjoy it, but obviously nothing beats like the tactile excitement of like being there and like being like huddled in with like loads of people and just like hearing the different things and things you experience. You can't really beat that. It comes close sometimes, but I feel like live football will never sort of like go away.
By the time this comes out, this will be out on Monday. It's non-league day this weekend.
It is non-league day.
Non-league weekend.
Well, yeah.
This weekend. Who's your local team?
My local team. Well, I live in Clapton, so it should be Clapton, but it's not. My local team is actually West Ham. But no, growing up, I lived just outside London in Havering, so it was AFC Hornchurch. So I used to play for a little bit.
Oh, cool.
So I have an affinity with them. Also, at one point, we went mad and tried to sign Andre Kanchelskis when he was 41. So they've always got like a place in my heart for that. That's the second time I've mentioned Andre Kanchelskis.
Someone's there like, oh my god.
Andre, if you're watching, come on, I'll have a chat with you in Mundial.
What do you think about initiatives like this with non-league day? Because when I look around Old Trafford especially, but I go and watch football of all different sorts of levels.
Yeah.
My bird's dad, I've never said this on here before, but my bird's dad's a blue. But he's the best kind of blue ever, because when they got bought out, he went, not fucking going. I think he wallowed in the fact that they were shit, and I think that was one of the things he really enjoyed.
Like, if I was all about winning, I want to be fucking supporting football in general. I had sort of like, you have like it's almost kind of like liberating to have the winning mentality just taken out of you, and you start to enjoy football for what it is. Now I enjoy the people that I see over at West Ham just as much. I enjoy obviously like the social point, but like we've always said sort of like at the mag, sometimes like it's an entire day. It's like a microcosm of a lad's holiday without anyone having to dress up like Super Mario, things like that. It's just matching,
sometimes matching t-shirts.
Oh yeah, sometimes. But like, if you go to an away game especially, that's like a whole experience, and like the match gets in the way sometimes. So it's like, you just like, there's so many other elements to it. But yeah, I just like initiatives like non-league. It just really takes it back to like what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be social. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an experience rather than like loads of people just going like really, really angry about like this thing, because like you can't help but get even more angry because you're like, I'm paying £70 to watch this match. So immediately like, I want my money's worth. I want my money's worth.
But is the money's worth in the winning? Because that's, for me, not necessarily in the winning. It is the experience. I do want to win. I go there expecting to win most of the time. Like I say, my bird's dad stopped going City. Yeah. He'll go and watch New Mills. He'll watch Glossop. He'll watch Stockport. He'll watch Staley Bridge Celtic. He watches all of these non-league teams.
People forget that there's so much football out there apart from the stuff that's on Monday Night Football, Champions League on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
But when I go because I go and watch all levels of football. I was at Rill on Tuesday to watch Wales under-19s and Switzerland under-19s. It was the fucking best game of football I've seen all year. 3-1 up, 10 minutes to go, Wales. 3-1 up, Switzerland, with a brilliant tactical masterclass that they had against Wales. Last 5 minutes, Wales put it back 1-4-3. There's an old geezer in the crowd going fucking nuts like they've just won the World Cup.
When you meet those people that sort of like dedicate their lives to these small teams, it just means so much more. These people, like, I interviewed someone a couple of issues ago who is like, he's sort of like a legend at AFC Hornchurch, so like the non-league team from where I grew up. And he's like, he started off as just like a meter and greeter, and then he became like the MC who does the raffle, and then he's also the DJ for when the teams come out, and then he also like mows the grass, and he's one of the chairmen, and also he was working behind the bar, and then also like when I was there and I was in the academy, because like you didn't have any fans and stuff, he'd come in and he'd do like impromptu team talks and stuff. it was just like these people like literally could not exist.
Clubs couldn't exist.
Clubs couldn't exist without people like that, because like I asked him how much he gets paid. He's just like, he's a retired bloke who just does this because he loves it.
Oh, he's got nothing better to do.
He's got nothing better to do, and also he saved them having to pay 7 people to do his one job.
But when I look at these teams, when I look at clubs like that, I don't see 12-year-olds there. I don't see 13-year-olds there.
Yeah.
I don't see 18 and 19-year-olds there. I see old blokes, and that's what I'm seeing at Old Trafford as well.
Yeah.
I find it really difficult to take my son at the moment, and I hate that. I have to pay an adult price for him. So he comes to 10 games a year, which is still quite
a lot of money.
Still quite a lot of games to come to, I think. But like, I would love him to have a season ticket and come with me like I did when I did with my dad, and really get that bug, because sometimes when I speak to him, like he's really keen on going to the game, and sometimes he's kind of like, man, I'm not that.
It's about that exposure to the experience as well, because like you go to 1 or 2, no one's ever going to go to their first football match, and like even if it's shit, no one's going to not enjoy it, just because it's just like a sensory overload as well, especially when you're young. But then you kind of have to go to a lot of games to kind of like
indoctrinate.
Yeah, no, you kind of do. It's like a cult. You kind of have to just be like, oh, you have to be here all the time, even when we lose. Because like, I remember like the
even
first.
More so when we lose.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like I remember going to West Ham with my dad. Like when I was really young, our first game we smashed Leicester City. I think it was like 3-1. And the next game I went, I can't remember who it was against. We lost 2-0. And it was just miserable, and everyone's shouting, and I'm just like 7, and I'm saying to my dad, I'm like, why are we here? Why have you done this? Why? And I'm just like really sad, and I have to go all the way home like really sad, and my dad just looks at me and he's like, this is football, this is what happens. And it was just like that sort of thing. I was just like, oh yeah, and you kind of sort of like have to sort of like, you live with it, and then you learn to sort of like enjoy the moments, because it's like a fucking old cliche, innit? You don't get to enjoy the highs if you don't like really experience the lows. I'm sure you lot have, I've
been in congas when we lose. I think United fans, like, I remember in the Moyes season, I somehow managed to miss
David Moyes.
all 3 goals that Liverpool scored that day, because my lad was taking a penalty at half time. So we had to leave our seats like a minute before half time, and they scored at half time, and then they scored a minute back, and we hadn't got back to our seats, and they had some signed ball. And he fucking dropped it just as the 3rd goal went in. I didn't see any of the goals, but all that was going was singing. People was on the top deck singing 20 times on United, and it was the most party atmosphere that we'd had since we won the league last, and no one cared about the result. No. And I think that sometimes I'd see a lot of fans online, and obviously in the comment sections on YouTube and stuff like that, getting fucking super like high blood pressure about results and stuff like that. And I wonder sometimes, is that because they've not got that extra thing to latch onto, that they didn't have the experience of being so there's a guy coming in, we're in there, you might have noticed, we're in their storeroom doing this. Do you need us to wrap up?
Guys. Well, we've just got people wanting beer soon.
All right, okay.
That's fair.
Right, listen, if you want to know more about Mundial Mag, go check them out on. I'll put the link in the description to the website.
Yeah,
and to their socials.
Follow us on Twitter, Mundial Mag.
But Sam, thank you.
Easy.
Nice
Thanks
one.
for having me.
Right, see you soon, lads.